Hello, everyone. I've got some stuff on my mind today. Boy, the news has been breaking the last couple days about what's going on in the Catholic Church, the more exposure. I saw one news article call it Spotlight 2.0. For those of you who have not watched the movie Spotlight, you should. It's super good. I want to talk for a minute about what seems to be a discrepancy. Why does sexual assault and all this breaking open in the Catholic Church, why does it seem to happen more there than in other religious institutions? Why does it seem to happen more there than Protestantism or other Protestant denominations? I know that's been thrown around a lot, and there's a lot of questions, a lot of people trying to think that through. And I think it's very fair to think that through and say, what's going on there? Years ago, back in the 80s, some of you might remember the 80s, some of you don't. Back in the 80s, when all this broke open with the Catholic Church, I remember thinking, I was in the evangelical world at that point and thinking, frankly, a lot of the evangelicals took this stance. Well, it's happening in those bad Catholic churches, but it doesn't happen as much in ours. And I remember thinking, is that right? Even as a young adult, that didn't seem quite right to me. Well, I'm even more convinced that that's not what's going on here. That it isn't that the Catholic priests are worse humans and that they are just set up for perversion and all those things that I hear flying around about Catholicism and about the Catholic Church. So what I want to talk for just a minute. What do you think this is? I think, first of all, and this is my opinion, but having worked in this realm of religious abuse, having been a sexual assault survivor two times of two different clergy members, I definitely have my eye on this. And so one of the things that makes a difference is that the Catholic Church structure is worldwide. It's worldwide. So it's going to make more money. It's going to have way more layers of power and control. And within this massive organization that actually has a structure worldwide. I'm trying to think if there's any other organization in the world that has a structure worldwide with that many participants. I don't think so. Within that, things can hide. Within that massive structure, things can hide. And the other thing is that the Catholic Church has money, therefore it has power. You know, in some watched several documentaries on cover-ups in the Catholic Church, and so often this happens in very, very Catholic communities. Very, very Catholic, where the judge is Catholic, the attorneys are Catholic, the district attorneys are Catholic, and nobody wants to touch this. Nobody wants to come up against their own church and challenge it and potentially risk getting booted. So you've got communities where everybody is colluding, everybody's cooperating together to say, we don't want this to come up. Okay, people, think about it. We've just watched this with Bill Hybels. We've just watched this at Willow Creek. Nobody there wanted to admit that this was really happening. Not in their church, not on their watch, not their pastor, not their priest. There's no difference, in my opinion, between these two, other than you've got a larger structure and often more money, more political clout, more full communities that identify with that religion. And so you've got all these things coming together. I mean, I'm thinking of the Paige Patterson issue that has come up recently with the Southern Baptists. And the Southern Baptists are big enough denominational structure that it took a while to get this out in the open. It took a while. But the Southern Baptists are nothing compared to the worldwide Catholic structure that's in place. So the structure has money and it has power. It has the potential to cover up. And here's the other thing. What was it? How many hundreds of people? I've forgotten now. The numbers keep eluding me. They're just too hard to wrap my head around. All these people being impacted, and you're like, look how bad the Catholic Church is. Okay, if we were to take all the sexual assaults in small community churches across the U.S., do you think the numbers would be less? Do you think that sexual assaults in small community churches across one state would be less? I will guarantee you no, they are not. So this comes out in the Catholic Church in big globs, in these huge blocks of people coming to press charges or whatever. Well, you've got one little community church and nobody, even if the pastor gets jailed and put away, all right, so I live in Oregon. So let's say, Burns, Oregon, something like that happens, it's not going to hit the news. It's certainly not going to hit the national news. But are the numbers consistent? I think they are across the board. Here, I'm going to close with this one quote that I just love from Abraham Lincoln. Nearly all men can stand adversity, women, it was the olden days. Nearly all men and women can stand adversity. But if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Bam. Oh my goodness, that is so good. If you want to test somebody's character, give them power. Priests and pastors carry a tremendous amount of personal power. A tremendous amount of personal power that is given to them by their parishioners, right? So they've got this tremendous amount of personal power, and power comes out in sex and money. It's always that triad, sex and money. It's going to happen there. So it comes out sexually. You see, pastors having affairs. You see pastors sexually assaulting, and actually, I'm going to call those sexual assaults due to the power differential. You see pastors assaulting young children sexually. Power is going to come out. So you come through life and you're a young adult, you get this power with these parishioners who think you're wonderful, and your character is tested at that point. And let's also remember that sexual assault is not about lust. It's about power and control. It's not about sex. Yes, it comes out sexually and it damages sexually, but it's about power and control. So those are my thoughts today on why does it seem these issues seem to be more prevalent in the Catholic Church. They're not. I would bet all my money, which is so little, but I'd still bet it all, on the fact that it's across the board. It's how the Catholic Church is structured that makes this come out in big dramatic blocks. So those are my thoughts. Talk to me, respond. I'd love to hear your comments, you guys. Have a good day.